Fire Radio.
Is this gonna get serious, or is this just like
We're at the kitchen table, man.
I don't know if we've had a serious one yet. Maybe we have. But yeah, welcome back to the Cool Fireman Podcast. If this is your first time here, we appreciate you stopping in. It's kind of like a kitchen table type atmosphere. We like to bring in guests and, just pick their brains, see what they're all about. This week, we are welcoming in Jeremy from National Fire Radio, the founder of National Fire Radio. We're going to, dive into his journey, into where he started, where he's at now, stuff that he's working on. And I'm sure it's going to fall off the tracks at some point, and we're going to go into 10 different directions.
I already think we got there.
As per the normal for the Cool Fireman Podcast. But with all that being said, welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
So as a protocol for us, just right off the top, we want to say thank you to, we've got a couple of sponsors, one of them being, I don't know where he ends up being in the thing, but he's in the middle here for me, Unky, of Unky's Seasoning. Let's go with the flavor this week is, let's say, our Chipotle. You can throw it on your potatoes.
Fantastic on beef.
Of
course, on popcorn.
Beef. Is it good on corned beef? Since this is our St. Patrick's Day episode, we could toss it on a little bit of corned beef.
Why not? Like a little spice to it. It's a little bit of spice.
Absolutely. Check out unkyseasoning.com for all of your deliciousness. And then our other sponsor who helps us out is the Burn Box and the FDC Collectors Club. So shout out to Tom. Those of you who got your box early this month in March know that you got a shirt for St. Patrick's Day shenanigans. There's a whole bunch of great stuff in there, some webbing and stuff. So if you're not a member of the Burn Box collective, you need to jump in because they got some awesome stuff. But
let's not forget that sweet fighting 44 coin this either. That was sweet.
That was cool. The only other thing we're going to do is just in case, Unky's always got it at the ready. Just in case you don't know, every week we like to do a moment of silence for anybody that we may have lost in the past week. Michigan, I know for sure, lost somebody from the city of Dearborn to a career-related cancer, just passed away. So we're going to take a quick moment of silence for anybody out there that we may have lost. Thank you very much. As Matt would say,
Well said.
Well said. All right. So housekeeping out of the way. Now it's time to get into the nitty gritty, I suppose, of it. So Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
27 years of experience.
30.
Chad GPT was wrong.
Damn on them. Yeah.
So tell us about what got you into this hectic life of firefighting. When did it call to you?
I was chasing fire trucks on my bicycle as a young kid, man. My father was a volunteer in town. That fire siren went off. That plectron went off in the house. He ran out the door, slapped that blue light on the hood or on the roof, and off he went. And my brothers were literally right out the door behind him on our bikes, riding across town to get to where the fire was.
No, you guys had to create your own sirens, right? On the bike?
Without a doubt. I mean, I would go into that now, but I think I've lost it. My voice dropped a few octaves since grade school. But, yeah, man, I was in love with it from the get. And it's funny that the program I do now, I put a new slide in actually this past week. My program's always constantly changing. And the new slide I put in this past week, I did the program a couple times. The new slide's called At Arm's Length. Like when I grew up in the firehouse, my father kept us at arm's length. I wasn't allowed to go to the firehouse anytime I wanted. The firehouse was shrouded in respect, honor, and dignity. When we went there, we asked permission to get a drink. We asked permission to look at the trucks or climb on the trucks. We asked permission for anything in the firehouse because it was a place of honor. And I think we've gotten away from that. And I talk about that in my program these days, how I can't stand the ice cream finger kids taking over our firehouses, and parents, the guys, not shutting that down. I have no problem with families in the firehouse. I have no problem with you bringing your kids there, having your wife there. You want to have a meal with them? I'm fine with it. All of it. They're always welcome. But there's got to be respect built in. And I'm so frustrated with what I'm seeing in so many places today where kids can run amok. It's almost like a babysitting club or a freaking playground, and I'm tired of it. You know, I grew up, the reason why I have such a passion and love for the fire service is because I was raised to respect it. Those guys in that firehouse with my father were giants. They were absolute giants. And as a kid, I looked up to them, man. And so when my daughter joined the volunteer house here with me, she surprised me. 16 years old. She said, I want to join. And at first I didn't want her to. That was that's my place, man. And you know, I didn't want to open that door to her. And then I really thought about it very quickly. And this is all within a few minutes. And I said, how dare I rob her of that opportunity that I had? And very quickly, I welcomed her with open arms. I never said no to her. I said it internally. Of course, it was always yes. As a father, you always want the best for them. But, you know, for me, and my daughter was raised to respect the firehouse. And she knew all my kids. I have 4 kids. They all know probably 90% of the guys in the firehouse. And almost all the guys probably know my kids by name. And so I raised my kids that way. But the one conversation I had with Lily when she joined was, everything you think you know about these guys goes out the window. You're starting from day one. You don't get to make fun of the older guys. You don't get to poke fun like they're dad's friends. They're not dad's friends anymore. These are your brothers. And I said, you know, you got to learn that pecking order. You don't get to walk in any different than a kid that never has been here before.
Yeah.
And I think that's that level of respect that's absolutely necessary. And she doesn't get cheat codes. She doesn't get to cheat the program because she's been around for a long time. You know, she's my daughter. And so she has to learn that. And she's still learning that. You know, it's tough at times. But you know, I was very frank and upfront with her about what the process was going to look like. And I just think that we really have to maintain the integrity of what the firehouse stands for, the equipment and the people there. And if your children are coming to the firehouse, they're more than welcome to be there, but they don't get to run around like crazy people. They don't get to disrespect the building or all the blood, sweat, and tears of those guys that came before us. We don't get to cheapen that by turning it into a place of disrespect. And so that is something that I talk about at length these days because that's been a topic on my mind. And I guess that's what I get to do, man. I get to explore all the shit that goes on in my brain, and I just throw it out there. I'm not afraid to put it out there. You know what I'm saying?
So you've developed quite a following, I guess, based on those opinions. Have you gotten any significant pushback
all the time
throughout your years? Anything that's made you maybe take a step back and say, you know, hey, I got to reevaluate maybe where I'm at, or have you pretty much, you know,
you got your superstars, you got your average, and you got your losers.
Here we go. Here we go. You know, and to be honest with you, I've refined that message as time ticks on. I mean, the Bridging the Gap program that I referred to before, and what Unky just referred to, you know, the whole thing with that program is it's always evolving and it's never the same. I mean, I've had people come and see it more than once, 2-3 times, and every time I do it, they say to me, it's different. And I said, yeah, because it's always changing and it's always evolving. My points of view, like this whole thing talking about the firehouse and the respect and honor and dignity, all that stuff, my message will continually change and evolve over time as I get to put more thoughts to it, get feedback from people. I can then craft a better narrative around that, right? I don't always get it right. When I put my opinions out there, I'm just putting it out there. But here's the thing that I learned early on, right? And I'll address the first thing first before we get into Bridging the Gap, right? But you asked about the hate and the comments and this and that. As much as you can't, and this isn't mine. This is I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is, but Gary Vee was inspirational in me starting my social media journey probably 10 years ago with my family business, which then evolved into National Fire Radio. After we sold our family business, I had a midlife crisis to do something on my own. So there's a whole backstory here. And if you listen to my Bridging the Gap program, which I put out on the podcast channel, it tells you my whole backstory, right? So you get a real appreciation for where I come from. But I don't listen. Gary Vee always talks about you can't hear the cheering and you can't hear the booing. Like, I do what I do because I truly enjoy it, and I think that my message resonates and hits some buttons. Now, I have haters all day long. Go to Facebook. Facebook is a brutal environment, right? It's 100 times worse than anywhere else, where everybody thinks their opinions matter, and they're going to let you know about it. I rarely read comments. I rarely look at the hate. I rarely do it. I rarely engage any of it. I feel sorry for most of these people. I know in my day, in my time, I don't have time to sit there and spew hate on the internet because I don't have time to do it. My time is better spent elsewhere. So I truly feel sorry for those people that have time to sit there and to be a keyboard warrior or to leave nasty comments or to challenge you or this or that. I have tremendous sympathy for you, because I can promise you this: if you're doing that online, you're probably not the guy that I want to ride backwards with anyway, right?
No chance.
So I'll be honest with you, man. I don't read it. I don't care. There were hate pages dedicated to us, new pages that started. And I'm not going to give them any validation here with what they were, but
Right.
There were actually, somebody took time out of their life to create hate pages based upon me and what I did with National Fire Radio. How pathetic are those people?
That's
Like, when you
great
really
word.
think about that, you have nothing better to do than to sit there and invest time and resources into creating a page around hating somebody.
and cutting somebody down.
Right. Which is fine. Listen, that's life. The world's full of losers, man. And I know plenty of them, right? We all do, right? And I'm not saying that everything that I do is right. It's not. It's my opinions. But the one thing that I did learn when I went into this from day one, by putting myself out there, was I can't let anybody have anything on me. I have to be 100% transparent and honest. When you listen to my program, I tell you, fat, drunk, and stupid, I was Tommy Boy growing up. I was an entitled piece of shit. I was a terrible fire officer in a volunteer house. I was a terrible chief, right? I was too young, not mature enough. I didn't get it. I squandered away a 5-year bachelor's degree, right? I threw away a Division I lacrosse career, like all these things, right? Because I was a piece of shit. I tell everybody I'm not great. I tell everybody I'm not good. I share a message from a point of doing. I have 30 years in the fire service, 48 years on this planet. And you know what? I've learned a few things here or there. And I've really grown up in the last 10 years, let alone the last 7 years, crafting the narrative around National Fire Radio. So I could give two shits about the haters. And frankly, I don't really care about the praise either. And I get a lot of it. But what I do really care about are those messages that I get every single day through text, email, and DMs. People struggling, falling out of love with the fire service, fading into the background. They're not getting support. They're looking for something more. And those people are starving for somebody to pick them up every single day. Every single day, I'm responsible to try to help somebody who fell out of love with the fire service. And that's my passion. And at the end of the day, all this comes down to, for me, I don't give a shit about the money. I don't care about the fame. I don't care about any of it. What I want is legacy, man. When I'm gone, when I'm dead and gone, I want people lined up for miles to come to my wake and funeral. That's it.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the silliness is based upon where we live today in society, that everything is immediate. Nobody understands that there's a process or a long game to anything. Nobody has patience anymore.
Well, instant gratification.
100%, man. Everything's right here. You want an answer? It's here, right? I want my wife, my daughters, Amazon's at my house 3-4 times a day, right? They order something. My wife got a package in 45 minutes one day.
That's nuts.
45. I mean, I live in a very crazy area. I have I probably have 20 Amazon warehouses within 20 minutes of my house, right? So literally everything we get is same day, next day. right?
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, you
That's
think
the
it, you
world
get it,
in
right?
which we live.
Well, and I want to chime in, Jeremy. What is your thoughts about really the vision that we have for the fire service? So there's no doubt that you are doing your part, right? And we on this podcast like to think that we're doing our part
Sure.
to not be the haters, to be the firehouse kitchen table, to spread positivity and leave it better than we found it. But the reality of it is what is your thoughts on the status, the PAR accountability check of really where the fire service is? And if we had to give a wake-up call right now to the fire service, what would your wake-up call be to the fire service that's listening today?
Well, I think a couple things, right? Because I can really unpack that. So I think a couple things. One, fire service is still very, very good. You don't like it, go be an accountant. I can promise you're going to be bored out of your effing mind.
Yeah.
Right? So, truthfully, right? So volunteer or career, when I talk about the fire service, I'm just talking about the job. I think a couple things. One, we broad stroke the fire service with one sweep of a huge brush, when in fact the fire service is super detail oriented. And we need to be talking about, when we talk about the American Fire Service, it's very hard to compare New York City, Baltimore, LA, even busy counties in different areas versus the true neighbor helping neighbor in the middle of Kentucky or West Virginia or Iowa, where it's a bunch of guys just running because their neighbor's house is on fire. We have to have some real honest conversation about the delivery of services. I think we are falling down across the country on the ability to provide a professional and proficient service based upon the unconditional beliefs that we will be there with every single tool and manpower we need to do our job effectively within 4 to 6 minutes. I think the public has a mistrust of us that they don't even know about, right? These people we're sworn to provide protection, but we're having staffing issues, right? Career and volunteer, we're having staffing issues.
Yeah.
Putting our own people in more harm's way than ever before. We talk about staffing, right? One of the things that in the volunteer fire service, for sure, we talk about staffing, and we're like, well, we got the truck there, we took care of it, whatever. Great. This time we did, right? The problem is we talk about staffing in regards to the public. I'm not worried. Like, we need to go provide a service for the public, an unconditional service for them, life and property, no doubt. But I'm worried about a fire district that's willing to just put 2 or 3 of their people in harm's way every single time. It's one thing to put the public in harm's way. Listen, they come first. I understand that. But we're also putting our people in harm's way every single day. And what are we doing about that? So I think part of the wake-up call is we need to be sure that we have the proper tools, staffing, people, innovation, technology, training, you name it. We need to make sure we have that all at our fingertips. But I will say this. Fire service is amazing, man. The shit I get to do, the people I get to meet, all of the nonsense seems to take front and center. But if you start looking at the background a little bit, there's amazing things happening in the fire service. And there's incredible, I think now more than ever, there's more of a push to make this job as good as we can. I mean, look at your platform. Look at all these podcasts, social media pages. Now, are they vetted? Are they good information? Is it solid? I don't know, right? I'll tell you this, though. I feel that anybody that's willing to put themselves out there and to try to promote and push this job forward, okay, great. Go do it. Just do it to the best of your ability, protecting the integrity of this job. We never had any of this before. Maybe some messages when it comes to training, there's some questionable stuff that's being put out there. I see it every day. People contact me every single day. Have you seen this? You know this guy? Have you seen this training group? Have you seen what they put out? That's so incorrect. Like, that shit exists. But that's always existed, right? And so I think overall, I think we're in a good place, but I think we are trending differently. I think we're getting away from the mission. I think we're absolutely self-absorbed about ourselves and not our brothers and sisters. I think we care more about ourselves than we do the public these days. I think that whole for them thing, it's a shame that we even have to say something like that or craft a narrative around that, because that was, in my world, just always understood. I didn't have to explain to people what we did. It was just understood what we did. But now it seems like today we have to clarify what our mission is. That's crazy to me, but maybe to the younger generation, it's different. And that's a big part of it, right?
Right.
is understanding that the world is changing quicker than it's ever changed before. And of course, that's going to affect the fire service. The fire service is a blue collar job. You're going to get kicked in the teeth. You're going to bleed. You're going to throw up. You're going to get hurt. You could die. That's never, ever going to change, right? It's, can we find people that will still subscribe to that? And the end of my program, excuse me, I put up a slide of a New York City engine company. It's black and white. There's two guys on the back with hip boots and smoking cigs. They got a Dalmatian on the back step with them. They got the arm hooked around the rail, and it's from the Warriors, and they're probably going from one job to the next. And I was like, you know, at the end of it, I talk about the idea of nostalgia and how much we all want to be long coat, hip boots, badass firemen from the war years. 95% of us could never hold a candle to those guys.
No chance.
Right?
No chance.
And so it's understanding our past and appreciating the past, but knowing we are innovating and changing going forward. And so we have to find a way to do that with respect to those that came before and the integrity of the job. And I think that's where it's really getting lost. But I'll tell you, all the travel I do, I'm going to Alabama this weekend. I'm going to Fairhope, Alabama for a conference with some of the best in the business. They're all my good friends now, and I've gotten to know Fairhope. This will be my third year down there doing this conference, and I'll be down there Friday to Monday. I can't wait to go because that's my recharge, man. These are hard-hitting firemen that just want to train and do good. And so when I come back from something like that, and I'm in the trenches for the weeks leading up to that, just getting beat down or, you know, hammering out issues or there's problems and how do I do this and what do we do? And I'm helping people along the way. When I go, that's my recharge, bro. So I firmly believe the fire service is still so very good. And frankly, if you don't, I can understand that. I can understand. I think something else I've been exploring lately, and I talk about it in my program now more than ever, is don't let somebody take your passion away for this job. We all walk through the door, volunteer career willingly. Nobody forced you to do this profession or volunteer at your firehouse in your neighborhood.
No.
Nobody forced you to be there. And a lot of us came in, and within the first couple of weeks, you fall in love with it. You figure out what that hook was, right? You figure out, and my hook was early in life, chasing the fire trucks on my bicycle as a kid, watching my father grow up in the firehouse, respecting that place the way I did. Nobody gets to take that away from you. You're the only one that gets to write your narrative in this profession, volunteer career. You're the only one that gets to write the narrative for yourself. Don't ever sacrifice your morals, ethics, or values. Don't ever sacrifice your love for this job. But the problem is so many of us are getting beat down by terrible leadership, command staff, administration, the brother that rides across from you, the ball busting that becomes more being like a bunch of assholes. There's all these things, right, that are really beating people down. And that love you had for the fire service is starting to fade. And now you start fading into the background a little bit. You're not the first one to volunteer. You're not the one to stay extra. You're not taking extra shifts. You don't want to stay late. You don't want to work with the new kids. That's you falling out of love with it because you're being beaten back. Something is beating you down in something that you loved at one time. I challenge you to go find that love again. Don't let anybody rob you of that because that just sucks.
So if you are getting burnt out, which all of us experience it, like you said, there's ebbs and flows. You're in the trenches.
Sure. Highs and lows, man.
You're in the trenches, and you look forward to your conventions or your speaking opportunities and stuff. You come back and you're ready to run through a brick wall just because you're so energized.
Yep. And then you walk through the door and they shut you down.
You're ready. What?
Yeah. That's reality.
I think a lot of it too, at least I know I'm in Michigan myself. And we were trying to pass a bill in the legislation last year because we have 50% of the amount of firefighters than Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio.
Right.
Like straight up. Like we have a staffing problem, whether it's on the rigs or just straight in the ranks. Overtime is crazy. Mandatory is crazy. People are getting burnt out. You're working. You're
100%.
supposed to be working your 3-4. Now guys are working 48s and 72s almost weekly and stuff like that. So, not to mention, like I teach at the academy. There's not a lot of people who are passionate about getting into the fire service.
Yep.
We have big academies like 42 this time we're teaching.
Right.
But a lot of them are like, yeah, my dad said I had to do something. Like, it's not, I want to be a firefighter.
But I
saw
also
this,
but
I
Freddie,
saw that.
But let me challenge you with this though too, right? That's a kid that's looking for something.
For sure. And I think service has it.
You know what's beautiful about that? I'll give you a quick story. One of my best friends in life came to my volunteer firehouse, and when he was about to join, the police department warned me about this kid and said, this kid's a troublemaker in high school, and I don't know if they're going to be right for your organization. He doesn't have a criminal past or anything. You know, we do background checks or whatever, but he's definitely a rebel rouser, for lack of better words, right? And I'm showing my age. So I said, great, I welcome him. And he goes, why? And I said, because maybe the fire service is exactly what this kid needs. He came to the firehouse. He found the structure he was looking for. He found an outlet for his energy and his excitement. And he's now one of my best friends. He's 10 years younger than me, and he's one of my best friends. And the fire service probably saved him from going down a really bad path. I think what's fun is sometimes we don't want those kids in love with it before they get there, because they come in with a chip. I've already been, I know this stuff. Get out of here. My dad's this, my uncle's that. I don't care. I sometimes want a kid that has no background. But the problem is, Freddie, and I'll tell you this, we have some of the worst people meeting our new kids. Their first interaction are washed up pieces of shit instructors who fell out of love with the job years ago, and they're shitting on them in their Fire 1 class. And those kids have no chance to fall in love with it because we have the worst people greeting them as they come through the door.
That's what I was going to touch on, Jeremy.
Shame on that, brother.
All it takes
Put that
for
on.
that.
I was gonna say, put that on repeat, and like play it max volume for the people in the back, because that's my frustration.
If that kid or any kid doesn't have a good experience in the training, the initial training, the Fire 1, the Fire 2, the hazmat ops, all that stuff, if they don't have good people training them and good people showing them how great this job is, that, like you said, Jeremy, they're never going to fall in love with it. You have, certain types of people who train at certain, departments. And Freddie, like, you could be the guy that turns that kid around or makes him, gets him that direction to say, you know what? I love this job. This is now my career.
That's always my goal, obviously,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I mean,
Freddie, but I'll challenge you with this. Of course it is.
Yeah.
However, you're getting burnt out. You're getting frustrated. So that's going to come through in your teaching, and that's going to come through in your relationship building. And it's no detriment to you. It's because the job is starting to affect you personally too. And that's the thing, right? You just went through that whole diatribe about, what the job's doing and where you live. And I get that. So we have to be super conscious that this is a trickle down domino effect. Is if our people are overworked and Mando, or in the volunteer service, we're asking more of less. Call volumes climbing, training requirements are climbing, but our personnel is dropping. So we're asking more of less. It's happening across the fire service in many different ways. We have to understand that all of that has a repercussion, and a lot of it has to do with building the culture of the job.
And I'll be the first to say, my recharge is the academy. When I am stressed to the max with my department, when I am with clean the baseboards, your shirt was untucked a quarter of an inch, it has to be a half, whatever it is. It's like, okay, thank God I have an academy day this week, and I can go there and I can still pass along the knowledge and the good tidings that the fire service has, and I can be around like-minded instructors who are trying to leave the fire service better than we found it, and not these corner mutts or these losers or whatever we want to refer to them as, where they're like, you know what, I got 10 more years and I'm just going to ride it out. I got 10 years.
But those guys exist too. And they always have, right? Like, that's the thing.
Generationally, I'm sure.
Of course, right?
Yeah. But I also think, remember the old adage of the loudest dog usually gets the most attention. So who are we letting speak, right? Are we letting positivity speak and get the attention? Or are we letting negativity? And I think that's kind of what Jeremy's saying, right? Like, who are we giving the attention to? Are we sitting in the back? It's kind of like the keyboard warriors, right? Are we giving the negativity the attention they need? Or are we taking center stage for positivity and just jumping in and like we said, for those kids that need it, that kind of positive reinforcement, right? Like we got to get in there and make sure that they hear our influence much louder and much clearer than them. And I think that's the
fire service has always been full of alphas, right?
Yeah.
And years ago, everybody was just a little bit different. And that's okay, right? Things change. But I'm going to say this. We need the guy. And a lot of fire companies are starting to lose the guy. And the guy is the one that holds it all together informally. He's the voice. He's the guy that delivers the message because he understands how to play the politics and deliver the message. He knows when to ramp up his voice and when to ramp it down. He knows when to give you a tongue lashing in front of the guys or to pull you in the back room when all the guys go to bed, right? Like that, we need that guy. He's also the guy that when everybody's sitting there disengaged, he brings everybody back front center to engage them. We need the guy. The problem is we're all fading away from the guy. And everybody else is so focused on themselves that nobody's sitting there looking at the bigger picture being, nope, I got to bring these guys back together. We're all going off into our own sections of the firehouse at night. None of us are sitting around playing cards or doing this or doing that or coming together. We need the guy. And the guy is the one that gets shit done. The guy is the one that's allowed to speak up, and he'll take care of the issues for the officer. But the problem is today is that we have insecure people in a lot of different positions, and insecurity is killing the fire service. That's a big part of it. I believe this, before we kind of start to move on, I think this. There are winning fire companies all over this country. I've seen them. I've ridden with them. I hang out with them. I've witnessed it firsthand. There are winning firehouses, and there's not one slug in that firehouse, and I'll tell you why. Because they don't last there. The culture doesn't allow for it. They can't keep up with the tempo. They can't keep up with the expectations. And those guys that maintain that high level in that firehouse will not cut corners or shortcuts and allow a slug to live there. And so they fade out. Now, I know that's not possible in all firehouses. Small departments, I get it. Everybody has to have a spot, and there's going to be a slug on your shift. I get it. But it doesn't mean he has to have a say. And it doesn't mean that he gets to have control of that shift, or it doesn't mean that his negativity is allowed to flourish. It's what are you willing to do? Negativity will always be easier for people to latch onto. It is, if you watch a room of guys, as soon as somebody brings up something negative, they hammer down on that like for 20 minutes. But as soon as the guy says something uplifting and powerful, right? They kind of just, oh, okay, you're right. But there's no excitement around the positivity, right? We need to create an environment where that's just the high. The everyday is super positive and super good. We maintain a certain level here. And I think a big part of the equation, and you mentioned something, Freddie, which drives me nuts. People complain about uniforms and shit like that. What's the priority? Our firehouses, you want to have a good culture. You want to have a culture that people want to be a part of. That culture is firemanship. Fires first, everything else second. That's it. It's very simple. Fires first, everything else second. I don't give a shit about anything else if you can't stretch a line and put a fire out. If you don't know how to take initiative on the fire ground. If you can't get into position or know how to get ready and go. Like, that's the culture. And when everything supports that mission of the firefighting and the fire service and the firemanship that's required, all the other stuff takes second seat. It all goes to the left, and eventually some of that might filter back in. But you have to focus on firefighting. But we get administrations and command staffs and officers and even firemen that get distracted on 1,000 other things, and we don't go to fires every day. We might turn the wheel a couple times today, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 10 times a day. But we're not the busiest department, so we're going to start focusing on other bullshit. And the problem is that we're starting to get away from the priority of which we're all sworn to do, and that's fire and rescue services. So when our fire companies fade away from firemanship as the priority, your culture will suffer because you're no longer a fire department. You're an everything else department, and that's bullshit. And that is a big downfall. When we focus on everything else but firefighting, yeah, that's when all the bullshit comes in, and that is how we lose. And that's a big part of where we are today.
I love that take. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Are we done?
No. God, no. So I'm sure you've made a lot of fun connections and friendships and stuff. throughout your time. We've talked to a lot of different people on this podcast, and a lot of the same views come through is especially for people who have like businesses, like, one of your best buddies, you took a road trip with them, Taylor's Tins, one of the friends of our show, Taylor. But we've noticed that a lot of them say that even if you are in competing spaces, they don't compete with each other. They still build each other up. And I think that's such an awesome aspect to the fire service. So in your history and meeting people, like what have you found, I guess, in people that you've interacted with, that you've found like the best part of the interaction with other firefighters that maybe you're meeting on the first time, or you get what I'm saying? I don't know if
well, I'll tell you this, right? Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll tell you this. My inner circle is super tight.
Yeah.
Super tight. And I can also tell you that my inner circle today is 100% different than what my inner circle was 7 years ago. I have found through National Fire Radio my very best friends that I've never had in my entire life. And growing up, like in high school and college, I was a popular guy. Like I had tons of friends, and, like I never had a problem like fitting in. But you know what I always had a problem with? Finding people that challenged me. I'm a lot, man. I'm a lot. I'm a big personality, right? I'm a big personality. I'm very opinionated. My kids and my wife will tell you, right? All of that. But I always found that people didn't challenge me. My inner circle today challenges me more than I've ever been challenged in my life, and I absolutely need that every day. There are two guys that I speak to every day of my life. Every day. I talk to them every single day, whether it's just a quick text message or an hour-long phone call or WhatsApp video. I talk to them every single day. We challenge each other personally, business-wise, firematically. We talk about ideas. We challenge each other to be better. Bro, I've never had conversations like that before in my life. I've never been able to be a part of something that was just so good that I look forward to those interactions every day. I work hard, man. I have 2 full-time jobs. I have a family. I have the firehouse. I have, the list goes on and on, just like everybody. I'm not saying I'm busier than anyone else, because I can appreciate today everybody's busy, right? But man, do I find time for those recharges that I need every single day. And I challenge people listening to this. If your friends don't challenge you or push you to be better, if they don't give you ideas, or you don't aspire to be more like them in this regard or that regard, or, you don't look to the next time you cross paths with them to have a good laugh and a story, then you're hanging with the wrong people, man. Like, there are people out there. You have to put yourself out there and meet people, get to know people, and then you have to be willing to trust people. And that was always, I think, a big tough spot for me. You find in life you get let down often, but I look at that as a positive, because it just reinforces the people I don't want to be with. And I think that's a very important thing. And I've learned a lot of valuable lessons. I've been let down a lot. I'm sure I've let people down. That's just life, right? It ebbs and flows. I'm not perfect either, right? But I'll say, the firefighter businesses, the firefighter podcast community, the firefighter training network, there's enough for everybody. I question those that are constantly in competition or talking about themselves instead of promoting others around them. I'm on your show today. You're taking views or listens from my platform. Why would I be here today? Well, it's because, I'll be honest with you, I love all these other shows. Because I think anybody that's willing to put time in, today is a Tuesday after Wednesday, whatever day it is today, Tuesday afternoon, here we are recording this. You guys are taking time out of your personal lives. You could be with your kids, your wives, your boyfriends, whatever you got. You could be there doing whatever you need to do, but you choose to be here. That means you care enough about the job to put in a little bit extra. And so I'm going to support that. And I think the other thing, too, is I feel a sense, I'll be honest with you, like, I kind of feel a sense of, like, the old guy, senior man type thing when it comes to this stuff in the fire service. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I know that a lot of shows started because of our inspiration with what we did with National Fire Radio from the get. And I'm incredibly humbled and honored with that. And so how dare I not give people an opportunity? If somebody asks me and I can do it, I'll do it. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I? You know?
And we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, like a big brother.
And I was going to say,
yeah, I mean, there's just enough for everybody. So why compete, right? Because when we start to I mean, friendly competition's always good, right? There's no doubt. But when competition is competition for the sake of beating one another, it gets ugly. It doesn't get good. Friendly competition is good. The problem is most people don't know how to do
the
that.
same.
They don't
And
know.
so now
They can't draw a
now
line.
it becomes a race to the numbers, the race to the top. I don't give a fuck if I'm number 1, 5, or 7. I do this for me.
Right.
I'm doing this because I enjoy this outlet. If I didn't enjoy this, why would I be here today?
It's not D1 lacrosse.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Right?
we're coming up on episode. I think this will be episode 98. So we're coming up on 100. I mean, and that means something to us because
Consistency, brother.
right? We're doing something that we want to do, and we're not here to get rich. We're not here to like you said, be number 1, 5, 7, whatever. We're probably number 174. Like, and I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
out of 175.
I don't
Right.
I enjoy it. You guys enjoy it, and we genuinely care about what we're doing and trying to spread the message that we try to spread to like-minded people like us. And that's all it's about for us. And if we can help one person, you mentioned this earlier, if we can help one person throughout any of this, great, man. Like, that's mission accomplished.
Yeah, and I think too, and I'll be fully transparent. I mean, this is it's also selfish for me. I need this. This is my recharge. Like, I get to get ideas off my head. I get to speak my mind. I get to talk about something I'm passionate about. I have lessons to teach. I've learned from my mistakes, and I want to share that with other people. Like, that's my selfish endeavor. I'm gonna get done with this conversation today, and I got 100 other things I have to do today. But I'm gonna be riding a high because I got to chat it up for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, I need it too. It's that selfish return for me that I think fuels me. And if I didn't have an outlet for my ideas and thoughts, I'd be struggling a bit.
I love the engagement that we get to hear the other sides of things, and just to realize that Doug's way is not always the right way, and that's okay. Because, like you said, there's plenty of people in this country that are great companies, and the way I'm doing it might need a little tweaking. It doesn't mean it's right. I want all the opinions, but I want them respectfully and I want them professionally. Like, you don't need to be ignorant about it. That's like you're better than someone, but we're here for the common goal, and I want to learn all.
There's 1,000 ways to do one task in the fire department, and just got to have that conversation, because your opinion is one thing, mine's the other. Maybe if we blend them together, it's a better answer. You don't know.
Yep.
We do. So I'm an apparatus guy too. So with National Fire Radio, we do a lot of different types of content. And one of the things, the apparatus innovation content we put out, and whether it's a video or just a still photo of an apparatus, it parallels exactly this conversation. The idea is this: custom fire apparatus are custom, and what they do on the East Coast is different than the West Coast and everything in between. So if I can share a tip, trick, or hack that's being done somewhere already, why reinvent the wheel? We're always asking people to reinvent the wheel in the fire service. It's like recruitment and retention in the volunteer service. There are successful departments running successful programs, and other departments that are looking for some type of answer. Why can't we bridge that conversation and share the ideas so we don't need to reinvent the wheel in every zip code? And sharing those tips, tricks, and hacks, man, they matter. Those are things that make us better. Hi, Stephanie. And so, I just think that it's a great way to create an environment that really come and go. That really works. And
that's going to be so happy.
Yeah. So anyway, just kind of my ideas.
No, you're good. Hey, so we like to kind of wrap up the show with a quick, like, little hot wash, we call it. And then
are we done already?
Almost. We're at 45, 47 minutes. We try.
How long do you go for?
We usually go about 45 to an hour.
Bro, I got like 7 more hours of content to go.
Well, that just means that you have to come back.
Part
We have
part 4.
We have found
Like
that
we're down.
We have found that right now our listening drops off drastically after about that 42-minute time period. So, what I'll have you do is we're gonna do this three times. Pick a number 1 through 55.
54.
54. What is your dream vacation destination?
I'm gonna say it's got to be warm. We were in Maui a couple years ago, documenting the fires. Put all that tragedy aside, that was probably one of the most magical places I've ever been in my 48 years on this planet. So I'll go with Maui.
Awesome. Give me another number.
53.
Oh, 53. What's your favorite sandwich?
Whoa! All right, this is a Jersey.
As a Jersey guy, this is a great question. The sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. How you do? So I would say, all right, years ago. I mean, there's a ton, and I'm a big guy, right? So, years ago, there was this deli, and it was called the Number 5, and it was just your typical Italian hero. It was a ham capicola, supersat, prosciutto, roasted peppers, balsamic arugula. It was, and they put on semolina. It was good, man. It was the old Number 5, and Number 5 was quality. But that was years ago. That's the nostalgia favorite sandwich. I'd say today, the go-to right now is the STJ, which is smoked turkey, melted Jarlsberg, honey mustard on a croissant. Can't go wrong. But Jersey, man, Jersey delis, bro. If you guys have ever been, you understand. If you haven't, there's meat hanging from the ceiling and cured meats all day long. So
Some
you
guy
know when you come east, I'll take you on the food crawl.
Some guy in Kentucky was hoping you were going to say the Subway Club. But I don't know why.
Not even close. That is so far from anything we do in this house.
For sure.
I said this yesterday at work when I saw the Subway commercial. I was like, I don't know who's keeping them in business because they are garbage.
It's just not New Jersey. Listen, within a 5-minute drive of my house, I could be at probably 35 delis.
That's awesome. That's
Well,
incredible.
we got Jersey Mikes down here.
90%.
So we understand. We understand that taste of Italian stuff. Subs Jersey.
It might have Jersey in the title, bro. It might have been founded here, but is so far.
My half of my TikTok feed is Jersey delis, and I die for it. It looks fantastic.
Come on east.
Give me a third one.
Number 2.
Number 2. Well, we already know this. So cold or warm weather?
Warm for sure.
All right. So last
39.
39. Oh, perfect. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Oh, cheese aside.
Yeah. I would say I'm a big fan of sausage and hot peppers.
Oh, there you go. That's a good
I'm
one.
with you.
I like
That's
cherry
a good one.
peppers.
And then
Cherry peppers, cherry peppers. Nothing like sliced cherry peppers with the vinegar zing and the sauce. Yeah, right.
So then the only other thing that I've ever heard people that say they're from Jersey or are from Jersey rather is they all ask each other what exit.
Yeah, that's bullshit though. That's
no.
stupid.
Do they not do that?
We don't. But understand this too. Like New Jersey, right? Being a small state, the 195 basically splits the highway 195, Interstate 195, kind of cuts the state in half. And if you're not from North Jersey, if you're from South Jersey, you're basically Pennsylvania. So because you celebrate Philly sports. Philadelphia is on the east coast it's right across the river from New Jersey. It's on the east coast of Pennsylvania, on the east of Pennsylvania. So all those cities in the south on the west side of New Jersey border Philadelphia. They're in the shadow of Philadelphia. So everybody's a Philly sports fan in South Jersey. North Jersey, we're in the shadow of New York City. We talk a little bit different. Our food's better. Our culture's better. This has led to many fistfights and many brawls, and then there's no central Jersey. Like people like to think if they live in the middle, it's central Jersey. There's no such thing.
No such
It's north or south. And if you're not from the north, it really doesn't matter.
There you go. There you go.
Pretty simple. Not that I've ever put any thought to that, right?
No, that's just it's the way it is, right?
Yeah, we're a unique breed here, man. Unique breed.
Well, that was
Jeremy, I just want to say I'd love to have you back on to talk to custom fire apparatus.
Let's
piece.
go.
I know that there is a huge following, and I also want to say thank you for the first hour just talking leadership and the culture piece, because people are drawn to that on our socials and they love hearing it because I think it's so needed. So I'm the chief on the podcast. I'm the White Shirt Mafia, and I love hearing you. I love hearing you say that. And I'm the minority here, and that's okay. But
Yep.
Freddie rolls his eyes every time. But it's just it needs to be heard loud and clear. And thank you for that. But I just want to say thank you, and I hope we have you back to talk fire trucks. Because
Anytime, man. I'd love to, and I'd like to say this right with all of that. People are starving for leadership more than ever before. Podcast, books, people are listening to it, but books and podcasts and external sources for leadership are good, but the only way you get good at leadership is by doing it. And it's like the fire service, right? And I'll leave you with this.
Amen.
Like if you're not in the trenches doing, you're never going to learn. Everything is theory. Everything is theory until you do it. And
you get command sim after command sim does not prepare you until the wisdom comes from experience. It's just
knowledge and experience matters in this job, and that goes through leadership. And so, don't fool yourself because you're a student of leadership. You still need to pick up and lead, and and you're going to make mistakes, and it's through that is how you truly become a good leader.
Amen.
I love it. Well, thank you very much.
This is the shortest podcast I've ever been on in my life.
Well, we'll call this part one.
Part one. We appreciate you coming out. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Everybody make sure you check out Jeremy on National Fire Radio. Check out all of his socials. He is one of the standards in the fire service. So
go to a conference.
Yeah, check out all of his speaking engagements. Head to a conference, listen to him speak. Very powerful.
Average.
So, without further ado,
Unky, you're hitting it, bro.
I love that clip.
He don't speak much, but when he does,
these guys, and I knew what their certain opinions were, and people said, and I just engaged everybody and got everybody talking about it.
I love it.
Love it.
Good.
Without further ado, Jeremy, you can throw it out.
Yes, sir. Hang on. Roll it, Gigi.
Roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!